Notice, this video was made before Player Core 2 came out for Pathfinder 2e, and so uses some class options from the original Pathfinder 2 core rulebook. Hello YouTube, and welcome to Cyprime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. So, in my continuing quest to never get this YouTube channel off the ground, I'm going to continue making builds for characters very few people care about. Today, Hilde from the Soul Calibur series. All joking aside, this build actually came about from a friend of mine. He's big into Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and I've been trying to slowly get him to try Pathfinder 2. Anyway, we got to talking the other day, and he confided in me that he likes the look and aesthetics of Hilde from the Soul Calibur series, but laments the fact that there's not a good way to build her in D&D. Sure, you could have the two-weapon fighting style and one hand a spear and have a short sword in the other hand, but he told me that build wasn't great. In other words, it's not a powerful enough build to deal with higher-level monsters in the late game of Dungeons & Dragons. He asked me if there was a way to build her in Pathfinder 2e, and I rattled off a build idea off the top of my head, and he really liked it. Anyway, I thought it would make a good video. If you don't know, Hilde, full name Hildegard von Krone, is a character from the video game series Soul Calibur. She debuted in Soul Calibur 4 and has been in every mainline Soul Calibur game since. Her backstory is that she is a princess from a fictional kingdom in what is now modern-day Germany. Side note, did you know that Germany as a single unified country is younger than the United States? Crazy, right? Anyway, Hilde's father is a great warrior king and she idolizes him, so she trained hard to be a great warrior herself. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Hilde is that unique fighting style of hers, making use of a spear one-handed along with a short blade in the other. Anyway, enough about Hilde's backstory, let's get started. As always, when building a character in Pathfinder 2e, we start with the ABCs of character creation. A stands for ancestry, and Hilde is obviously a human, so that's pretty easy. As a human, she gets a bonus to 2 of her attributes that we get to choose, and we are going to choose Strength and Constitution. Hilde is actually driven to make herself into a great warrior queen, so I'm actually going to choose the skilled heritage for her and take the skilled diplomacy, though I wouldn't blame you if you took versatile heritage for that free general feat. As for her ancestry feat, we're going to need to take unconventional weaponry and choose the hobgoblin weapon, the breaching pike. This one-handed reach spear is going to be our stand-in for Hilde's spear. Also, it has the raising property, meaning it does extra damage to objects, which is nice, but not why we're choosing it. Now, this is moving ahead a bit, but Hilde is going to be a fighter, meaning she's going to start off with Expert in the breaching pike because it is a martial weapon, and fighters start with expert proficiency in martial weapons. This is all to say, we only need the unconventional weaponry feat because it grants us access to the breaching pike. If your GM lets you buy uncommon items without the feat, then yeah, you don't need the ancestry feat for unconventional weaponry and can choose something else. For her background, there are a few that we could work with, like my go-to Martial Disciple, but I think it's pretty obvious Noble is the best fit for her. Actually, if your GM allows rare backgrounds, Royalty is probably a better fit, but Noble is very similar and doesn't have the rare tag. The background gives you a boost to Intelligence or Charisma, and we're going to choose Intelligence, and it gives you 1 free boost, which we will put into Strength. It also gives you the Society skill and the Courtly Graces skill feat, letting Hilde use her Society skill to influence people instead of Diplomacy when in high society situations. It also either gives us heraldry or genealogy lore. I choose heraldry because, come on, she's got a heraldic flag at the end of her spear. Like I said for class, I'll choose fighter. Fighters get a bonus to strength or dexterity. I'll choose strength. Fighters are also automatically trained in either athletics or acrobatics. We'll choose athletics. They are also trained in 3 other skills, plus their int modifier. I'm going to make sure to include acrobatics as one of those choices, as she is somewhat acrobatic in combat. The others you can choose as you see fit. Fighters get a class feat at level 1. I'm going to choose Double Slice, which lets Hilde do a 2-action activity that lets her strike with her spear and offhand weapon without suffering the multiple attack penalty. Fighters also get a bunch of other stuff like Reactive Strike and Shield Block. I'll put that on screen now. Finally, we get to add boosts to 4 attributes. I'm going to go with Strength, Constitution, Intelligence, and Charisma, making her a sound leader, military strategist, and still good on the battlefield. For equipment, we're going to want as good a set of armor as we can get and upgrade to full plate mail when available. As for her weapons, obviously we want to one-hand our breaching pike, but as for the other, that's a bit trickier. I suggest the main Gosh, which is a dagger that has the parry trait, which can boost our AC. It's also piercing versatile slashing, which means it gives us access to another damage type if we need it. Actually, I think the best offhand weapon for her would be a Dwarven clan dagger, but getting one of those without being a dwarf would be tough. Of course, if you wanted to do more damage, you could make her offhand weapon a short sword or a flissa, but then you would be sacrificing the bonus defensive parry, so it's up to you. At level 2, she gets a class feat and a skill feat. For the class feat, you can pick your favorite. I might pick Lunge to give her the ability to hit out to 15 feet, which is solid. She also picks up a skill feat, and personally, I'd go with additional lore for Warfare lore, as she is supposed to be a solid battlefield commander, but the choice is up to you. At level 3, she gets a skill increase. I'd probably do Society, both for her ability to recognize enemies on the battlefield and for her Courtly Graces skill feat. She also gets the Bravery class feature, which is nice, but not really a major part of this build. At level 4, she gets another skill and class feat. For her class feat, I'd go with Twin Parry, making parrying with her main Gosh give her just as much AC as a steel shield. For the skill feat, pick your favorite. If you took Intimidate as a skill, I might go for something like Intimidating Glare. And that's where we're going to leave off for today for the most part. As she continues to level up, there are a few things to keep in mind. Remember, fighters only get really good with one weapon group, which for Hilde is probably going to be spears, so by level 13 you are legendary in your spear but only master in your main Gosh. There is actually a fix for that if it matters to you. If you can get access to the Swordmaster archetype, there is a level 10 feat that lets you choose another weapon group, and that weapon group scales up to your highest level of weapon proficiency, which for you ends up being legendary because of spears. The Viking archetype can also do this, but only if your offhand weapon is a short sword. Or you could just be master in your offhand weapon, that's fine too. One last thing, I'd like to direct your attention to the 16th level fighter feat Twinned Defense. This is a stance that basically lets you parry as long as you are in combat, meaning you don't need to spend an action every round to keep parry going. Pretty good for this build, I would say. Anyway, that's all for today. Now, if your player is building a Hilde character and you need some enemy army soldiers to send her after, try my newest book, the NPC Omnibus. This book contains 36 NPC stat blocks for creature levels -1 to 10, all easily customizable and ready to be dropped into any campaign. Check it out at DriveThruRPG or PathfinderInfinite.com, link in the description below. And as always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and want to see more. So, until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!